Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight, we're joined by CJ motherfucking Hayes. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo out New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, Spartan Martial Arts, The Striking Institute, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and TJ's mom. How you doing tonight, CJ?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Doing good, especially since we're about to go completely off topic. Man, I don't know. Where do we begin?
Oh, TJ, congratulations on the baby. You know, you got adding to that beautiful family, man. Congratulations. Good looking kid.
Yeah, he's cool. He just sleeps right now. That's like, I've been trying to get him to like play catch and stuff, but he'll learn.
Was he I guess, did the fireworks bother him at all? Because like this is the first episode we recorded after the 4th of July. I mean,
he didn't notice a thing. He was sleeping. The dog was freaking out more than he was. But I brought Michael outside. We got Colorado. I mean, as you guys can imagine, there's like fire hazard constantly in the summer. So they have a big firework ban. So it was pretty similar to Minnesota. I went and got a couple fizzlers and sparklers and shit for Michael. Kept entertained. But the neighbors didn't give a fuck. It was Wild Wild West with the neighbors. So Michael enjoyed the show.
Okay, this is one thing that I wondered. You know how like around certain holidays that it's okay to put on events? Like I guess because on Christmas there's football, right? And on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving, yeah.
There's no games on or Christmas Eve, I mean.
They don't force it. This year there will be games on Christmas Day. Hopefully, knock on wood. But if the calendar doesn't line up, they don't force it. They'll just go that week.
Okay, yeah, but I've seen there's been games on Christmas Eves and things like that, and certain holidays, and it's like certain holidays it works for events and stuff. Have you ever seen a fight card be put on 4th of July weekend? I mean, not the 4th of July, not 4th of July weekend, because has that ever happened either?
I mean, I don't think so in America. I'm sure there's promotions in other countries and stuff that put on the show, but like, but for the most part, with the
TJ, I meant locally. Like I should have clarified.
That's fair. That's
a fucking national holiday.
I just
within the Midwest. Dude, in the Midwest.
I highly doubt it. I think when it comes to like 4th of July, Halloween, holidays that are specifically night-based, it makes it really tough to put on a card like that because everybody's outside and stuff. So, I mean, traditionally, though, it's the big week for the UFC.
Well, what about when they used to do the Fight for the Troops? And that was during the day. And we used to go crazy for that shit. Well, I guess we were kids too, though. I mean, teenagers.
I go crazy constantly, and I think that's definitely a good idea if they were going to do something like that. I think at that point you'd have to find the fighters that are down, but I think there's always going to be a lot. I mean, it's a day of the week. Fight.
Yeah.
Would you ever fight on 4th of July, CJ?
Yeah, why not? Best time for fireworks, baby.
well, we were talking off camera, and it's I hell yeah, I love that line too, by the way. but we were talking off camera about how the crowd is something that you feed off of. If there's the threat of there not being too much of a crowd, would you want to fight on 4th of July, or do you think that if they have, I don't know. I'm asking too many hypotheticals in my one scenario, I guess now. But if there wasn't a crowd, would you do it?
I mean, not as an amateur. If I was getting paid for it, absolutely, because it's paycheck, you know. But as an amateur, we rely heavily for money to pay for our camps and stuff like that. It's off of ticket sales, and I sell a shit ton of tickets usually. You know, like oh god, my dog got the pig thing oinking again. Sorry, get out of here. But anyway, since I couldn't make any money off the ticket sales unless there's an incentive like, hey, we'll pay your gym dues and your diet fees and strength and conditioning fees, then absolutely. But if I'm not getting anything out of it other than just experience, I might as well do TBAs because the crowd's basically your teammates anyway.
Yeah, well, okay. I want to get back to the TBAs, but this is just on my mind, and it's a little bit on subject. Before I get too drunk and high, uh, um, I guess, did you see Mike Perry's interview about taxes, where he was talking all that stuff or whatever about paying taxes because it's expensive being a fighter, right?
He's a fucking idiot with his taxes. Well, he's just an idiot in general. But
well, did you see how Ben Askren, and I can't remember the other fighter that responded to him, saying
Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez, where they were saying to open up an LLC like under your name. That way you can file anything that like your gym dues, nutrition, food, like everything that you have to do to put yourself as a fighter because you're an independent contractor. You could write off essentially because it's for your business, which is you. Yeah. And I never fucking knew that.
Well, why do you think those guys fought in Asia, man? They learned a few fucking things because you got to pay whatever you got to pay over there. And then when you come back, Uncle Sam wants some of his too. So if you're trying to keep the majority of your money, you have to be able to account for it and say, well, this, and this. But that's smart, man. Like, I never thought of it either, but I'm like, fuck, when I go pro, that's what I'm going to do then, you know?
Right.
Oh, and I mean, and I'm glad that you brought this up, and we could joke and laugh about how he said it and his choice of words, but I feel like what Mike Perry was saying had a lot of value, and it's really true for a lot of guys who didn't come up in a well financial upbringing. I mean, I know for myself, I didn't learn about credit until I started working in collections. Like, realistically, I didn't have a credit card until I was 24 years old, and luckily, there's a lot of people that didn't have that path where they got them when they were young and they didn't know what to do properly. And if you have that right up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say, like, I didn't know about credit until TJ started telling me about it.
Seriously. And it's one of those things where if you don't have, the luxury of, your parents and family teaching you this stuff, it can be a rude awakening. And if you're a fighter who's making, $3,000 and $3,000 on the local show, and you get your call up to the UFC and they go, hey, we're only going to pay you 20 and 20, in your head you're thinking, only 20 and 20? Are you fucking kidding me? And then you go in there, you get lucky, you get a huge knockout, they give you 50 grand on top of that. Guess what? They're going to cut you a check for $90,000. You're thinking, I just made $90,000. The fuck you did. If that was a business,
$90,000.
business, they're taxing you. When you get a paycheck as a normal person, it's taxed before you get it. That's your money. When you're getting this check, if you've never been in that situation, I mean, Mike Perry's not the first fighter we've seen talk about this, and I feel like what Ben Askren and Eddie Alvarez were saying, I mean, it was so on point. Well, I mean, there needs to be some sort of literacy in this game. If you're not prepared, I mean, the first time they hand you a check for $100,000, and then all of a sudden the government takes 40, your coaches get 10%, your manager gets 10%, and then all of a sudden you get down here and you're like, well, what the fuck happened to my $100,000? These are real things.
DJ, you're being generous with the 10%.
Generous. You better have a good coach and good management.
I mean, yeah. So damn, dude. Like, because honestly, I've never gotten those $100,000 paydays, so I've never had to deal with that. But I know. I don't want to say this on camera, but I'm going to. Like, I know I probably still owe. There's so much that I didn't report too, or I mean, I report everything.
Allegedly.
And that's when we bring it back. But I mean, like Mike, he's
TBAs.
So the TBAs, that's a perfect turnaround. We were talking about that off camera. Traditionally, I was speaking here today on July 5th, those would have happened already. But with the circumstances here now, you mentioned, they got postponed. You might be looking at signing up again this year. What's the update on that, and when are they tentatively looking at running these?
They're looking at it sometime in October. I'm almost positive they have a date set. I just off the top of my head can't think about it. But they said October. I'm guessing it'll get pushed back a little further because I mean it's still growing and there's over 900 participants every year. So that's just the athletes. It's not including the coaches and everything like that. The referees, everything. That's a lot of people in one area. So I'm sure they'll figure something out, and I'm hoping that it's still this year. But if it's 2021, it's 2021. Even if it's like dead January, fucking cold as hell, I don't care. We'll go. I'm really interested in doing that again, just because it's the only thing that already doesn't really have like a crowd of spectators. The spectators are typically your teammates that are also competing, or the ones that came along to help warm people up, stuff like that. And then maybe a couple family members or friends. But it's majority just the team. So that's just like a wrestling tournament to me, except a fist fight tournament instead, which I'm all about it. So I think it'd be nice way to get back into the competition again, knock off the ring rust. I was thinking about going pro already after that February fight, but then all the shit hit the fan. And I think this would be perfect. Win another belt. What's stopping me from going pro and getting paid for it? I'm not getting any younger. Next year I'll be 29. We're inching towards 30. It's time. It's about time. So I think I want to win one more belt. Fight 4 more fights in 3 days and kind of live that again, which was kind of cool because, like you said, it just passed us, the Facebook memories and everything. And I was watching all my videos again and looking at all the pictures of me and my team and just thinking about like every emotion I had leading up to that, and during it, because you're just like have to be chill and keep yourself in a good mood, but at the same time, gotta be ready for war because you're fighting 4 times, you know. It's real crazy, those ups and downs. And I'm just like, when I look at it, a lot of people would be like, no, I don't want to do that again. That was stressful. You already won 1 belt. And it's like, no, I want to live through it again. That was something that you don't like experience every lifetime. And I want to do it twice. So,
yeah. Well, fuck, dude. Like I would hope that you're able to do it twice and get it done. But if they don't end up having it this year, would you still end up turning pro? And then, because I guess, are pros allowed to compete in the TBA still?
at A class, yeah. So that's
if they didn't have it this year and you were to go pro and compete, is it still something that you would want to do again anyway, even as a pro, knowing that you won't get paid as much as you would or at all?
Anything you pay actually to compete in it. So, but yeah, I think I would do it again. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and having all this time off has helped me reevaluate a lot of my goals. Because I've noticed, my last couple of camps, we did a lot of grappling and stuff. Last fight, I was planning to grapple. Like I was planning on bringing it to the ground. Just happened to clip them early. And I've been neglecting my jiu-jitsu, like not like grappling wise, but just like my straight up no-gi working submissions. So it's nice getting back into that. We have a bunch of submission dummies at the cellar right now, which are kind of cool because for 45 minutes straight, you're doing the move constantly. You don't need to switch back and forth or any bullshit like that. You can crank the arm all the way. You can basically rip the arm off and not worry about hurting anybody. So, yeah, it's pretty nice to get back into that. So I want to compete in jiu-jitsu, even as a pro. I want to compete in kickboxing, maybe even boxing, MMA. I've even thought about, because I was a really good Greco wrestler, and I think if I could train with the Minnesota Storm team, eventually I would do the Bill Hinckley opener not Bill Hinckley opener, sorry. That's in Owatonna. The Dave Schultz Open, which a lot of world team members compete at and stuff, and just see where I stand with like a lot of the top guys in the country right now with Greco-Roman wrestling. I want to do it all. Just get as much experience, mat time, ring time as I can, and as a pro, earning consistent paychecks. So staying at a healthy weight class, jumping between 185, 195, depending on what it is, cruiserweight, middleweight, and just constantly earning my experience, my extra money, because I'm a social worker. I'm not quitting that. Sorry, my puppy just keeps running in my damn leg. But I just want to keep on rolling with everything and just become like a martial artist full on. Yeah.
Well, when you make your pro debut, when you go pro, competing in all of those other aspects of martial arts is always good. Do you have somebody on your mind for when you do go pro, or is it just like you want to face another guy who's making their pro debut as well, or would you want a guy with depth in their record?
Well, you guys already know what I've been saying about like my division, even as an amateur, as a pro, it doesn't matter. Especially true on the local scale. Anybody can get it. Any one of them can get it. That's not anything cocky. It's just the truth. Anybody can come get this. If you don't think I'm much, sign the contract. Go for it.
This is a little bit different. This isn't even necessarily about you, but if you want to make it about you, I'm down to hear it. But I've just been seeing a lot of bickering going back and forth between a lot of fighters. And I want to say some heavy left and heavy right wing people arguing on Facebook that are both fighters that are close to the same weight class. And I don't want to say any names. And this is because it's so many people that I've seen this like, oh, do you think that any fight, have you seen anything where you think that these two are going to end up fighting when the fights start going back because of all of the drama?
I think there's a couple that'll go down, and I've seen a couple in my division as well. But to be quite frank about it, they're ranked quite a bit lower than me, so it's not really a vertical movement for me. They're not at my skill level, and David Benji. But you know, keep on saying that, you know, the white nationalist sympathizer fucking comments, and keep thinking that maybe when you're good enough, you'll catch up to me. But you're about as good as you're going to get. That's all I have to say. Not naming any other names, but there's a few of them that I feel about that. So
I didn't know that you two were going back and forth.
Go back and forth. I just saw what he said. Got the screenshots. I waste my breath on somebody that's like not even a vertical movement. That's not even a lateral movement. Like we're not even tied for anything. Like the fuck got to offer me except like giving me his jaw or his neck. Like
dude, I like both of you guys. You're talking some good shit. This hard is not. Oh my god. Oh, okay. So besides you two, have you seen anybody else? I mean, we don't got to name any names because like there's two guys that I'm thinking might come out of retirement and fight like these.
Oh yeah, now I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, they've been going at it. Bubba, hey, no, he's trying to go after one of the cats. But yeah, they're going at it, man. I hope that happens.
Man, I'm not, it's one of those situations where, we can talk about it, but the heat is definitely there. And I mean, I'm far from a promoter. We've talked about it many a time. So, I mean, if you're out there and you want to take notes, I'm only asking for 3%. But if you're looking to book a fight card, I mean, late October, let the media do the work for you. You book these fights right, you're going to sell your fucking house out. Yeah. And like I said, Trash Talk only needs 3%. That's your idea.
Okay. Oh my god,
I don't. I had shit to talk about today.
I don't talking about this because I mean I guess this is completely off topic. This is what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, let's change the subject. I don't want to go. Like I'm not an instigator. I'm not an instigator. I never will be.
No, that's why the name of your show is Trash Talk, right? Just let the fighters do it.
And then honestly, part of it too is when I talked a lot of trash when I was fighting and all the stuff, and you can see it going on between me and Clay Udley right now, even though it's like it's all like fucking PG. It's all great. It's like
PG-13, bro. Don't undersell yourself. It's getting a little feisty out there. We're questioning people's abilities to speak languages and shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how are you feeling coming up to that?
Oh, dude, I'm feeling good. I feel fucking amazing.
I mean, he doesn't even know Korean.
Dude, for real. Like that honestly gives me so much confidence. The fact that for every word that he lacks in Korean is just one more ability that I feel confident in, Like, I mean, she's 5'8".
Bro, I was gonna mention, I mean, realistically, and I mean, I love Clay. I would consider Clay a friend, but I mean, I'm on the show with you. I got to talk some shit sometimes, and the fact that it's only 3 rounds, he's 5'8". I mean, come on.
Yeah. Right. Dude, it's so fun just like talking all this bullshit with him, like leading up.
I love Clay.
Plays the shit. And honestly, like it's kind of fun just talking all this bullshit, and people are actually getting a little bit interested into it and more, which is kind of funny because like I guess it's just showing. I guess it kind of shows people, or shows me even, because you don't need to talk that good shit to get people interested in your fight. I don't even know. This is grade school. This isn't even grade school insults. It's some stupid shit, but it's working.
It is. What's up with the grocery carrying? I just gotta know, because I was like, what?
Dude, he's a gentleman. He's a nice guy. Fucking A, that doesn't sound like something that motherfucker would do. Get caught carrying the fucking woman's groceries.
He carrying for the old lady that lives across the street.
Yeah, every fucking time she goes shopping, dude. Every time.
Just waits outside for her to come pull him back up.
Like, I don't know. Like, if you say good things with a negative tone, it sounds like, is this guy retarded? Like, does he mean it? And then it starts to become funny.
I used to do that. I used to do drive-by compliments on people, but I'd say it in an aggressive tone. As I drove by, I'd look at somebody and be like, "There's some nice-ass shoes, motherfucker." And they'd be like, thanks.
It goes to show what people say about fighting. And when you hear people talk about people who, the fake trash talk, forced trash talk, like, oh, when it's not natural, it doesn't sell. And, and they think that, oh, because Conor says red panties, that's why people watch it. No, it's what he says and how he says it. Clearly for this fight, you're able, and Clay as well, because he's dropping fire on you. Well, let's not pretend this is one-sided. You guys are showing that you're able to promote a fight without any ill intent and garner interest in the same point. I mean, because you guys are joking, that doesn't mean that you're not going to try to punch the shit out of each other when the fight starts. That's a given. I mean, everybody understands that. So getting past that, it's this. But, you can't fake this either. So fighters out there, you can't look at the blueprint and go, well, I'm going to make funny memes, because sometimes you might do it. It might not work. Just be real, and it'll come across, and it'll work. If you're going to talk that shit, that shit. Or, as Damien said, sometimes you got to talk that good shit, and that's when it's at another level.
Well, honestly, like, I have nothing bad to say about him, so I just said a bunch of good things in a negative way. Like, because he's not a bad guy, and I like him. Like, and I'm not going to pretend to hate him. Don't really need to, and I guess, like, I don't know, and I respect his skills, too, because I don't know if you've seen, well, I know, TJ, you've seen it, but CJ, I don't know if you've seen the promo videos that I made for the fight. I made 2 of them so far, and I'm like, I totally respect his skills. Like, they're there. They're, it's the fight sells itself once you see the fact, like, just us going back and forth, and then you see the fact that we're both 2 skilled athletes and martial artists. Like, the memes and the shit talking gets everybody interested, but this is a legit fight. And honestly, like, I'm not, as much as I don't hate him, it's like I'm going out there to compete. Like, this isn't, I talked with TJ before about this, where this isn't the same as before when I used to fight, where I would go out there trying to express my rage, trying to display my anger, in a physical form. Finally, I'm fighting because I'm pissed off, not because I'm happy. It's like I convinced myself that fighting made me happy, but it didn't. It just made me a little less pissed off every time I did it, with every win. But now it's coming from a completely different place. Like, I don't got to be mad. It's like I'm actually down to fucking compete now. I want to see what I got as a martial artist. It's like, I know I'm a fighter. I know I can fight. I did that for years. Now it's like, let's go test these fucking skills. Like, I feel different about this, dude. Like, it's just, yeah,
that's good, man. And also, I actually trained with Clay back in Mankato when I was
everything. No, I'm
Was-
just-
Well, the funny part was, like, I sucked at striking. I sucked at striking when I first got to the cellar too. I still had the same bad habits because wrestling, you stare at their hips. You're looking at their hips the whole time because wherever their hips are going, they're going. So I'm sitting there with my hands down here, staring at people's hips, and Clay and everybody else at Mankato, and then same thing at the cellar, just kept fucking tagging me over and over until I learned, look at the chest. And we're still working on get your hands up. Let's all be real here. You guys see me fight. But Bobby Lee actually once said that that's like one of the scariest things about me. I'm not only just ready to get hit, I'm planning on it. But yeah, no, I feel you on the whole not needing a whole lot of animosity to fight, man. We're competitors, first and foremost. It's already kind of weird what we do. Like my coach explains it really well. Like what we do is not natural. Like your instincts are fight, flight, or freeze in like an immediate threat. But we are signing contracts to fight somebody on a set date and train to fight said person. It's kind of weird what we do. So I'm just like, I don't need any animosity. Like, why make it more weird than it already is?
We don't talk about the UFC on Trash Talk, but this is completely off topic.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes to what on topic of what you just said, though. But anyway, what do you think about the Jorge Masvidal versus Marty Usman fight? Because I honestly feel like the fact that that the weak notice of it all benefits Jorge so much more because of the street fighting background. How you said the fight, flight, or whatever else you said. The
fight or freeze.
Yeah, fight, flight, or freeze. And Masvidal is one of those dudes like, oh, the fight's on right now. Like now, the less time to think about it, the more time to just react, the more time to just walk up to a motherfucker and deliver a 3-piece and a soda. The more, like, the less time he needs is all he needs. And I feel like that benefits him just from his past. And then also with his, they said 45 fights now, 45 professional fights. He's known what it's like to sign a contract and wait for the date as well. So both are bred in him. Yeah. And Marty Usman is not that same level of street warrior. I think they're a high level competitor. He's world champion for a fucking reason. His skills are there. Everybody sees it. But I'm just like, this is a different element. I'm not saying that this is going to make Jorge's the winner, but I definitely think it benefits him in the fight. Now, what do you think, CJ?
I think that it definitely benefits him. Bubba, get out of there. I think it benefits him because, like you said, like he's game bred for a reason. He's just down to fight, and for guys like that, like not having to worry about a camp and sitting there stressing about it every single time you see like social media posts of the other guy and stuff leading up to the fight, seeing what he's doing, and he's like obvious. He's always like slamming some sort of weight that might be bigger than the weights that you're throwing around. You're just like, fuck, like, go work harder. And he doesn't have to think about that. And he's just going to go in and fight. And what has he got to lose? His BMF belt? Like,
man, he's still the baddest motherfucker. Get the fuck out of it. I mean,
everything to gain.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't have asked for a better situation for him. I mean, and the best part about it is, obviously, he was just mentioning, 2-3 weeks ago, all right, I'm ready for a fight. Fuck it, this didn't happen. Give me somebody else. It is what it is. And he's been posting pictures working with like Artem Levin, one of the best kickboxers in the world before the fight was announced. So he was getting all this work in. And then this falls into place. And, in the back of his head, he's probably thinking, yeah, something's going to happen. And then fucking positive COVID test. Now, not only is he getting the money he wants, he's getting the fight on 7 days' notice, like you said. That has to play a factor because, I mean, you hear guys say it all the time. I mean, oh, man, there's so much mental shit. And he's just like, fuck it, let's go. And, I mean, do I think Usman's saying, fuck it, let's go? Of course, because I think he was ready for this fight, too. So I think this is a crazy fight. But to say if it's going to benefit him, hell yeah. and this fight's going to be crazy. We're talking about it. It's already Sunday. They got to wait until Monday and then get on, what is it, a 17-hour flight? And by the time they get there, take another test, it's fucking time to fight. There's no time to fucking even think about it. Let's go.
With Usman, though, I think it's, I don't know. I think it's more of him being champion. He knew that he had to be ready for if somebody was to fall out, that they're going to try to find a replacement. He needs to know that. I mean, if he's not an idiot. If I don't care if you like Marty or not, he is not stupid, So he knows that that's how it kind of works when you're champion. And then also, you get a little bit of say in who you fight, but you also got to fight who's next in line. And you might not be who's next in line, and who's also might be the alternate might not have the same style matchups, So he knows all of that. But at the same time, him having to say yes to Jorge,
Mhm.
I don't think was a hard decision for him. One, he knew he had to because of all the things that he says and the fact that he's champion. But two, I don't think he wanted the fight with Colby if Colby was offered this fight and if it was given to him, because one, I don't think he thinks Colby deserves a rematch.
Yep.
And that fight was so close, even though he broke Colby's jaw and he won by knockout. Dude, what you hear what Dustin Poirier said about all the damage and stuff like that, like every time that you fight, like you're still taking a piece away from me, and it might not be a piece that I miss. My family's going to miss it. And I'm not saying Usman is thinking that, but he's not an idiot. Whether he's thinking it consciously or subconsciously, I don't think he wants that much, especially back to back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a very methodical fighter. You see it in all of his fights. He knows where he has the advantage against somebody, and he utilizes it. If he's the better striker, he's going to outstrike you. If he's the better grappler, he's going to outwrestle you. And you've seen it in every one of his fights until he fought Colby. Colby was the first guy that really put him in a bad spot. So I agree with you 1,000%. If he was given two names, Colby or Jorge Masvidal, he leaned towards Jorge. He's like, that's the guy I'd rather fight on 7 days' notice. And I feel like I said, Masvidal is ready for it. And like, dude, have you ever lost a main event a week before and got a better one, the one you people really wanted in the first place? Not take away anybody from Gilbert Burns, but this was the fight everybody wanted. This is what happened. I mean, come on. You talk about hitting a 7 during 2020. Let's go.
Right? I hear you. I hear you, man, because and I think it's a mistake that he was so quick to say Masvidal, because a lot of people sleep on Masvidal because, he's a street fighter and blah, blah. It's like, dude, he's had 48 fights. Like, he's not still just like, he's not just punching a heavy bag in his backyard and doing sit-ups. Like I don't know.
So,
like, I think he's just a monster.
I was trying to explain this to somebody too. I'm like he is a 500 fighter, and somebody said that about Jorge. I'm like, and I'm like, that's not exactly true. It's not 500. He's not half and half. But one thing is true. He has over twice as many wins as Usman. Yes, he has 12 more losses, but that's 12 more lessons and 17 more fucking wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. People harp on those 13 losses, and like you said, sure, that's a lot. And in boxing, that'd be a big deal.
Hold on, TJ. Hold on. Get 17 wins, period.
Yeah.
Now, get that times 2. You're probably going to lose some fights in between that. But fucking A, when, dude, you know how hard it was for me and just to go 7 fights in a row? Shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you look at his record, you take those losses. I believe if you took out the split decisions, which that means at that point one of the judges said no, he just won that fight, which is still a loss, but I mean that shows how close the fight was. I want to say he'd have like 4 or 5 losses on his record. Yeah. You're talking about a guy who has the most split decision. He's been in there with everybody, and like I said, he fights them all. And if you sleep on that, that is a mistake. And he 2019 showed that he was the fighter of the year. And now here we are in July, haven't seen him. Do not forget about what he was doing to people. And, I mean, the betting lines haven't come out, but now that they've legalized sports gambling in Colorado, it's become my thing, and I'm doing all right. And I'm just going to say, I don't know where the line is, but if Masvidal is anything of an underdog, it's a fair play.
Yeah.
Now, to get completely off topic again, I don't know what to bring up though. I kind of want to get off the UFC topic though. Everybody talks about the UFC, and that's what me and TJ aren't about. We're all about the local guys. Like this is, I want to be talking about the drama and the hype and lead up between you and your opponent's fight, CJ, instead of Jorge and Usman. You know what I mean? Like this is excited that everybody is about the whole build up to that and what's playing out with them. It's like that's what I want to build for you motherfuckers here. Like,
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. And I mean, I would more than happy talk about build up against opponent if they're fucking opponent. You know, like it's really weird right now, man. I'm just happy to be back in the gym, be back training, and we're doing like social distance training. I'm also teaching twice a week as well for fitness kickboxing, but it's like 10 people max with including the instructor. The instructor wears a mask. Everybody's spread out, and we have like kind of squared off sections that you have around your bag or with your grappling dummy, and basically the coach just runs you through a bunch of different drills and stuff like that, which is nice. You know, we're back to structured drilling again. You know why I enjoy being at the cellar? I've already said this a million times. I have a mad scientist, one of the Waco kickboxing team coaches, the head coach, and Mauricio, who is world's champion for jiu-jitsu, national champion multiple time. Like, I don't have to think. I'm a social worker during the day, man, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love being a case manager, working in social services. But I get paid to think and use my brain for problem solving. I love that I don't have to think. When I do training, when I fight, I just listen. And I go. And that's so nice, again, having that structured drill. Because, like, I can do my strength training and stuff like that on my own, but I need that conditioning push and the technique push from my coaches. And I really enjoy them. It's just brightening my mood too. Like I jump on the highway towards the cellar and I feel happy, like happier than I've been in a few months. So it's really nice.
This is a question I've actually never asked anybody on the show, but are there any fighters at your gym, I guess, or people that haven't fought yet, but you know that are potentially wanting to fight, that kind of got you excited or get you excited that they're in the gym and training and things like, oh, this guy might have some skill and things like that? I mean, I've never asked that to anybody, but I know that everybody does, you know?
Yeah. Everybody in our gym, and I don't want to like name a bunch of names. I know a few that are interested in fighting and stuff, but I don't want to name a bunch of names because I don't know everybody's goals in my gym. We all train together and enjoy each other's company and input and everything like that, regardless of what our goals are, if they're so different. And so I don't want to put any extra pressure on a few of them, but a few I know of, like Sean Flynn, he's going to be a really good Muay Thai fighter. When he did a smoker, and we got some stuff to work on, but he's kind of his biggest critic, which is typically good in a fighter, is like, because you want to constantly work the technique and stuff. But he's also really embracing the Muay Thai like traditions and stuff like that, and like mentalities, which is really cool to watch. So I'd say within a year or two, start looking out for him. One guy that you guys probably already know of, Caleb College, or Caleb No Chill that we call him. Kind of like Cody No Love Garbrandt. He's Caleb No Chill because that dude has one gear, and he's fought a few times now. He lost to Davey Young up at North Star, and then his next fight he won because when he took the guy down, he broke the guy's leg on the takedown. But he was dominating before that. But yeah, that really kind of, nobody likes to end the fight like that, but like it happened. but he was showing really good technique and showing good composure throughout the beginning of that fight too. So he's going to be something to watch out for. Cody Johnson, Muay Thai fighter. He's been doing really well. I think he'll probably do TBAs again whenever the hell it starts up. But I don't know. We got like Michael Franz. He's still putting stuff together. He's taken a few losses. But hey, like you said, losses are lessons, and we're all amateurs. It all resets when you go pro. Yeah. So might as well like kind of figure out what you're doing right now. And he's really technical. I enjoy, even though he's so much smaller than me, I enjoy sparring with him because we get he's a southpaw, so and he's a bit of a dork, so we get a lot of shit talk between the two of us while we're going. And I mean, I'm not trying to knock him out or anything. I'm fucking walking around 220 most of the time. So
oh man.
But yeah, no, we got killers in our gym. Even the guys that don't want to fight or the guys that used to fight, they're just killers, man. I really I enjoy our structure.
That's one of the toughest things is like I don't want to make because you can't make anybody do anything, you know, but like even pressure a guy or try to get a guy to start wanting to fight if they don't want to. Mm-hmm. But there's some guys that I've seen that are just like, dude, you sure you don't want to fight? You sure you don't want to fight? But then I've also seen guys that train really good all the time, and then they do want to fight or they have a little itch to do it, but when the lights are on, they just don't perform the same as when they're in the gym. And it's like if mentally you don't want to fight, then don't fight or whatever, right? But no, I just hope you know you got the skills, bro. Like some of those guys.
I hear you. Yeah, we and I feel that, you know, like I understand because I've seen it a lot in wrestling too. Like we had guys even in high school and in college, like they were so good in the practice room, man. Like some of them would fuck me up some days, especially in college. But then when the light came on, like, and you had to walk out there, and it was just different for them, and they just couldn't pull the trigger. I'm just lucky that somewhere in my crazy ass hillbilly genetics, I got the one that can pull the trigger, you know, and that's been with every sport that I've played. Like I've not always been like a star athlete and stuff like that, but I've always come to play and bring my A game every single time, you know, and because, you know, you never know how you're going to react until it happens. So,
yeah. Oh my God. TJ, you speak on this one really quick, because this is a question for you and for CJ, but like, and I guess it's kind of it might be, take it as a question, but it's probably going to come off as a statement. Anyway, but you said that you were never like a star athlete, like in anything really. And I'm like, I kind of feel the same way. Like I was good at sports, but I was never like a guy like, oh, he's a freshman, let's bring him up to varsity type good, you know, as like baseball, football, track, or anything like that, you know. But like I was always good for my level of competition, my grade, whatever. And with MMA, it's like you could see some guys that were never even played any sports at all. Guys that were horrible at football or B team or JV their entire high school career, whatever. And then whatever, they start to get, or even just a JV wrestler sometimes, you know, not even that good, and get into MMA and start having all of the success. Like, I don't know where that comes from. Because like TJ, I'm not gonna try to insult you right now, but like you were never a hoopervisor on the courts. You were never fucking slam dunking on cats. You know, you crossing people over. You weren't on the wrestling team. You didn't. I mean, I don't know. You wrestled 1 year maybe, I think, but like you not in high school. Yeah, like yeah, not on a high school level, not on a collegiate level. You never. Like, did you play football at all in high school or junior high?
Up until like 9th grade.
Yeah, but like, were you like? So I'm just saying, like, not really. You were interested in sports, but not really like a superstar at any of them. But for whatever reason, you have a winning MMA record, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you're the way you apply yourself, and sometimes, you know, it comes in. You know, I was never one to where I was always into sports. I loved sports, but I was always the one, I played football with my friends most of the time. And then when it came down to structure, I wasn't good at it. I had a lot of freedom when I was a kid. And that was both a good and a bad thing. So when it came time to get yelled at and shit like that, I was like, yo, what the fuck? I got real defensive. And then, realistically, just telling my specific story, after my dad passed away when I was in 8th grade, went out to high school. I moved to a small town and got real rebellious, started smoking weed, stupid shit like that, and purposely never even tried to go out. So at that point, I kind of sheltered myself away from it. But it was never where I never felt like, I couldn't do that. I was always big, but it was like, I'm big, but hey, I move kind of quick. I'm big, but hey, I can do a cartwheel. I'm big, but I can fucking flip off the fucking diving board if I have to, silly shit like that. And when it came down to fighting, it's like when you really wanted to do it, you apply yourself a lot of the times. And it's a great quote where it's hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. And it's one of those things where it's a sport where anybody can do it. You put the hours in, you put the reps in, you can learn this shit. And you might not be the fastest guy or the strongest guy, but you put in that time and you're going to see results. And I think that works out for a lot of people.
Yeah. And just to give a little background of me, I don't think I've ever really shared that on Trash Talk, but no, like out of all the sports, man, like I was good at sports, but like wrestling is what I excelled at. Like I excelled at wrestling at an exponential rate for the short amount of time that I actually was really involved in wrestling, 7th grade up. But I excelled really fast because I was determined to get good. I was sick of getting pinned. So I started training with coaches from the U of M with one-on-one sessions. Like my parents would pay out the ass, even though we didn't have much, but they'd pay for it. And like they'd bring me out there, and I was just in love with the sport. And when I got to college, it was showing that I was still in love with it. But then I transferred back, to Minnesota, went from a private religious school to Mankato, which God, everybody knows what Mankato is like. And I stopped. I didn't. It's nothing like really against the program. I just didn't really like it anymore, and I started falling off in wrestling. I was doing a lot of drugs and partying hard and stuff like that, and filling my nose full of candy, and it got to a point, man, like where, freshman year, I believe I had like just over 500, so a winning record as a true freshman in college. Sophomore year, I had a really good winning record. I think over 30 wins and like 12 losses, something like that. And that's not bad for a sophomore in D2. And then junior year, I was 6-6 when I transferred, 6-6. And then senior year, before I quit, I was 3-5. And I just remember just a really close match, and I could have held on for the win. But just like, I don't want to sound like I was a crackhead or anything. I wasn't selling my TV for fucking blow or anything like that. But I just remember the thought, like, and it sounded like my party voice, basically, like when I'm fucked up. And it was just like literally said in my head, I was like, I don't care anymore. And then I lost. And I quit. I quit my senior year of college and just kind of partied hard the rest of college, still got everything done. And I started getting my shit together, went to grad school, cleaned up my act a bit. And I just kind of like how Mike Tyson, I actually teared up when I heard his interview about like how he's scared of that guy inside him, but also he misses him. And like, I felt like that too. Like I felt like a bitch, dude. Like, and I didn't know if my intentions were to fight or not. But then when I found the cellar and I kind of formulated a game plan of like, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to make a second run and we're going to make up one last run at this and you can redeem yourself. I think that was it for me. It wasn't like just, oh, I have this thing to pull the trigger in my head, because obviously I lost the trigger in wrestling, didn't refuse to lose anymore. But in fighting, I think it's just, I owe it to myself, and I'm sick of myself, because there is that inner guy, that inner bitch in me that just wants to like say fuck it, all the time. But I'm sick of that guy, and I've been sick of him for a long time, and I've been keeping his fucking mouth shut and getting a lot of fans for it. So,
Oh yeah, dude, it's tough dealing with all that stuff too. I mean, like when you regret is the fucking, I don't know, it could kill a man, or but like I guess you finding the cellar and going back and like finding that again, dude, like that's inspirational. And like what you said about Mike Tyson, because dude, I think everybody is inspired by Mike Tyson, at least our generation. Shit, I don't know, like
Yeah, I mean, when we grew up, especially because we grew up I can speak for us because we're all similar in the same age. When we grew up, we heard about Mike Tyson, but that was after he got out of jail. He was biting dudes' ears. You're like, what the fuck is getting face tattoos? People for a while, I mean, you were like, what the fuck? Mike Tyson went off, and then he found this resurgence. He found himself, and there couldn't be a more inspirational story, like you said. And it's one of those things where, you have to find your reason, and luckily, fighting, you get to do that.
Like I like how you brought that up, like where we were in the era of like where he was biting the ear off or whatever, right, going to jail and stuff. But then like that whole time, like we were still in that era of like Mike Tyson's still a badass motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
He's knocking everybody out. We still got to see all of his highlights and all that stuff growing up, like in not even before YouTube. I mean, like we got to see that stuff, and that's on the TV. I didn't have to look that up. And then he's not fighting anymore. We've seen all the trouble because that was like what we were alive for and everything too. And then we got to see the whole him reflecting on himself, and then also the resurgence to becoming a new man, the understanding of himself and seeing him understand himself and all that stuff. Like, dude, like I don't know. I feel like we were blessed in a way to see. I mean, I guess, and I guess people from here on out, I guess, are going to be blessed in a way to see like their heroes in that way where they can see them like come back, and I mean at their highest, at their lows, and then at the resurgence, and let you know, like, dude, like get off your bitch ass, stop being a hoe.
Like, that's real shit, and I truly hope so, because right now we live in, there's a lot of shit going on where, I mean, and I'm not, God, I don't even want this to go the left way, but let's be real, a general circumstance, a guy or anybody makes a mistake one time, and there's a cancel culture right now where it's like, no, this guy needs to be done forever. So hopefully, Mike Tyson, he did some fucked up shit, but he was able to redeem himself, and he was able to, grow as a person. Hopefully people, some people get that chance still. But yeah, it's a great story to see, and finding that reason to fight, like you said. I like how you said, who that guy inside of you is, and I don't fucking like that guy, because that's a great way of putting it. And I feel like you hear, a lot of fighters say that, and fighting is just a different breed, because you hear people say, well, I don't know how you do that, and it's like, well, I don't know, like, it's one of those things where it doesn't come across as a thing, to you, when you're just like, well, yeah, I'll go fight. And one of the things I really like when you said earlier was you're like, you think about those memories, you see those old things when fights, and telling this to someone who's never fought or doesn't understand it, but the emotion you can get simply looking at a picture, sometimes you put yourself back in that mindset, and without realizing it, your stomach's going a little bit, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? I'm looking, and you kind of put yourself back in that moment, and it's such an emotional thing. So being able to use that to channel it to find better ways, I mean, that's ultimately what the goal is.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, how long have we been going, TJ?
55 minutes.
Ooh.
I have not heard a baby cry, so I think I'm doing all right.
Hey, so we good then. So, sorry, were you about to say something, CJ? My bad.
Oh, nothing. But yeah, my dog's trying to fucking act up and get my attention right now because he's still a baby. You guys want to meet him quick?
Yeah.
Oh, come here, Bubba. Oh.
3
months old. He's 3 months old. He's 33 pounds. His name's Benjamin Buford Blue, or Bubba.
Oh man, dude, my dog's name was Sergeant Montgomery Hill, and we just called him Sarge. But like people thought like when I tried to tell him like his full name and stuff, it was like, who the fuck named him that? I'm like, oh, I did. It was like, what the fuck? Why did you name him that? I'm like, after C. Montgomery Burns, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Sergeant Montgomery, and then Hill, because he's not gonna have Burns' last name. Fuck
Yeah.
him.
He's not a douche.
Yeah.
Well, he's Benjamin Buford Blue because of Forrest Gump, because that's Bubba. Bubba, my best good friend.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How long have you had him?
Like 3 or 4 weeks now. Babe, is it week 4? Week 3. Yeah. He's doing pretty well, except he's a little shit around this time of the day, even though we give him plenty of exercise, but he's a lazy breed. So like if he doesn't want to go, he's gonna lay down and throw a fit, you know, and then like so you can't like force him and drag him across sidewalks and shit. And and then all of a sudden he decides at like 8:30, 9 p.m. he just wants to turn on the Psycho for like an hour. And then he knocks out again though. So he only has like an hour or two of Psycho in a day, which is it's not bad for a puppy. So
yeah. TJ's ready for his son to start his second son to start hitting that turbo speed when he starts walking.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I mean, both of them going, that's going to be a different thing. We got to definitely get them into some athletics here before when they start both running around. I don't got time for that. Right now, it's more of just the second one wanting my attention, or the first one wanting the attention when you're holding the second one. It's just like, oh, I'm over here. It's like, yeah, I see you, but he's crying right now. It's like, but that's all fun. It sounds like chasing a new puppy.
yeah, well, the funniest part is because we have 2 cats. One of them's blind and dumb, and he was like the most gentle cat I've ever met until this dog came in and some sort of instinct kicked in on him where he wants to be mean to the dog, and he's blind. The dog doesn't know he's blind because he's just a baby, you know, and never met him before. So the cat will smell him and look in that direction, but he can't see him. So the dog thinks the cat's staring him down. I shave that cat like a lion every summer. So he's just seeing this little mean-ass lion that whooped his ass upon walking into the house, just staring at him across the room. And, that's why he's been crying this whole time, because that cat and the other one, she likes him, but she likes to get him worked up. So they just lay on the other sides of these gates that I set up and just antagonize them. Like, and yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's a dog being bullied by fucking cats.
Yeah, he's getting jumped. Bullshit.
He's a big softie too, so it's really funny because like he wants to be their friend, and it's really funny watching him like try to go up and sniff and lick them. And like the one that can see, she can like she'll tolerate him, but if he gets too much in her bubble, she's the one with claws, and she'll whoop his ass because he's so scared of the lion-looking one who has no claws and is dumb. And like we're just like, you don't know the true meaning of fear till that one gets you. And then she finally did, and he's just like, no.
Oh man, we'll have to get you back on here soon to give us an update on the animal channel.
Oh yeah.
So we can see what's going on with all the chaos. But I probably should go in the house here quick. Before we wrap it up, even though it's not a traditional trash talk, platform's yours. Thank whoever you need to. Shout out the puppy again, whatever you got to do.
Well, shout out to the Cellar Gym and well, that's St. Paul Saints. I thought I had my Saints Coast hat on, but Saints Coast Barbers finally hooking my shit up. I know it looks weird with the hat, but made it look all nice and good like. So thanks, Manny. Abominable Grip, Abomination Athletics, the fans, my family, my friends. And other than that, Black Lives Matter.
Man. Thank you for the time. Thank you for that shout out, and can't wait to have you on again, sir.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk. Do not be a hoe.
And throw overhands, bitches.